Welcome to Live from the Garden. I'm Karina, creator of the Let Us Live Edible Garden movement. Together we will tour backyard, farms, rooftops, and other inviting spaces, all with the hopes of inspiring you to get out and get growing. Today we are all the way in North Carolina, where it's nice and cold, where y'all have real winters. We are with Kira, the Curly Gardener. How are you this morning or afternoon, rather?
Afternoon. I'm great, Karina. How are you?
I am fantastic. I'm excited about our conversation. You are our first guest with the garden in their greenhouse. So we're our first tour in the greenhouse. And that is
Yes.
one of the advantages. We'll talk about one of the advantages of having a greenhouse and how you can make also some makeshift greenhouses if you don't have the resources to buy a greenhouse. So, tell us your name and where we can find you. Let's start off there.
Well, I'm Kira. You can follow me on Instagram. I am the curly_gardener. I'm actually in Archdale, North Carolina, which is really 10 minutes away from Greensboro, North Carolina, and less than 5 minutes away from High Point, North Carolina. It's right smack dab in the middle of all of that in the country area. So I have a house out here and I have started farming. So that's where I am residing.
Okay, Archdale, North Carolina. I know y'all hadn't heard of that because I hadn't heard of that. But Archdale, North
It's small,
Carolina. Okay, it's a small town.
very small. I think they have a neighborhood market, Walmart, and that's about it. But you have High Point nearby, less than 5 minutes. So you can go to High Point for whatever you need.
Awesome. Okay. So tell me, what led you to gardening? What experience did you have that led you to wanting to grow your own food and seeing the importance of growing your own food?
Well, Karina, I talk about this on my Instagram page, but I actually have ulcerative colitis, and ulcerative colitis is inflammation of the colon, and it could also cause a host of other issues with your GI system. So I was very sick. It was sick to the point where it was starting to affect my work. Every time I would eat, I was sick, literally
Mm.
sick to where I'm in pain, bent over, wanting to cry, just crawl up in a ball sick. So once I got my diagnosis and I knew what I had, I said, well, I'm just going to change my diet.
Mm.
And I kept saying I wanted to garden, I want to garden, and I changed my diet to pescatarian. And then one day my husband, he says, well, come on, we're going to go to Lowe's. Because I was putting it off. I'm a procrastinator. I kept saying I wanted to do it, but I never did it.
Right.
And so he said, we're going to Lowe's. Come on, I'm just going to get everything you need. I'm going to build you a box and we're going to start your garden. And that's how it started about 3 years ago.
Wow. So you were inspired by wanting to take control of your health. Like you saw the importance of taking control of your health and you saw that through growing your own food. So
Mm-hmm.
have you seen a difference in your symptoms?
Oh yes. I was on 6 medications at one point. I'm now off all medication. I rarely go to the doctor. I have to be careful about what I eat because what I eat can send me to the hospital, unfortunately. So I just keep a strict diet. I eat all the vegetables from my garden. I have seen an improved health. I had a whole 360. It was to the point where, like I said, it affected my work. It was to the point where I'm out and about at the movies and I just eat something. I'm like, I have to go home. I'm sick. Um, so I no longer have those issues. I have a better quality of life. So the garden actually has improved my health so much, and I'm thankful for actually starting it.
And did you come from a family of growers? Were there other people in your family that were farmers or growers?
Well, my grandmother had a garden when I was younger, and my grandfather helped with that. But no one actually really gardened besides them that I knew of.
Mhm.
And last year, my grandmother, like I was telling you about, my grandmother was telling me that my great grandmother actually had a little small farm where she had livestock and she actually had a garden, so they would eat stuff from the garden. So with my great grandmother having that background, I think I probably inherited some of that from her.
Wow, that is really interesting. That the things that we find out later in life that we don't know about our grandparents or our great grandparents or even our parents, like we oftentimes find out things late. And I think that comes from a lot of us no longer have those conversations at the dinner table where we're just talking and sharing
Hmm.
stories. And I think we've lost the we no longer see the value in passing down stories,
Hmm.
and so oftentimes we discover things later in life. I don't think that I came, well, my mother and my grandmother, I don't know
Hmm.
if they grew food. My grandmother is deceased, so, but I don't ever
Hmm.
recall her having a garden. But I'd be, I'm gonna start this genealogy thing this year and be interested to find out if that's the case. I do know that she probably. I know she did pick cotton, but I don't know that
Hmm.
she grew
Yeah.
food. Yeah. And
Same with my great grandparents. They did cotton and picked cotton and stuff. My grandmother picked cotton.
yeah, and so what was the size of your first garden?
My first garden was if I'm not mistaken on the size, I think that box is about an 8 by 8 box. I started a really big box, and my first garden was potatoes. I
Mm.
did potatoes in the garden. I had asparagus roots, but you know it takes about 3 years for you to get asparagus. I didn't know that at first.
So you
But
didn't
I
pull it out
had,
though. You didn't pull the like many of us do get frustrated and just pull the crop out. You left it in.
well, see, I left it in. I didn't get overzealous with it, but I read the box after the fact. Like I bought it thinking, oh, I'm gonna have asparagus. Then I get home and read the box. I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna have asparagus. But I had potatoes, I had watermelon, I had asparagus, I had a grapevine, um, I had zucchini and squash,
Mm.
and that's how I started my first garden.
Oh, you went all in. Zucchini,
I
squash,
did.
potatoes. Wow. And so was there an experience that you said, I kind of know what I'm doing? When one of your harvests, what did you harvest that made you say, oh, wow, okay, I may be doing a little something over here?
My first harvest, when I actually had zucchini just growing, it was just like left and right. I had zucchini. I had such an abundance of zucchini that I was actually giving stuff away. And I
Mm.
was like, okay, I'm doing good here. Nothing's dying. It's living because I'm a type of person. I killed all plants before I started this. Any
Mm.
house plant I would get, it would die.
Mm.
So I just knew I probably wouldn't be successful in it. And I had zucchini and squash left and right. I was feeding coworkers, I was feeding family members.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, I kind of know what I'm doing. And people started saying, okay, you know what you're doing. I was like, I sure do.
Yeah, for me, it was sweet potatoes. When I harvested sweet potatoes and I put that pitchfork in and they just kept coming out and coming out. I was like, oh, I know what I'm doing here. Yeah, sweet potatoes. And they were just coming. I was like, yeah, we in the sweet potato business. And they were just coming. I thought that was so fascinating. Teresa Dantzler from Nashville said, hello. Hey, from Nashville, North Carolina. Where's
Neighbor.
Nashville? Where is that at? Nashville,
I
North
have no idea. It probably is in the mountain area. That's what I'm thinking. But I could be wrong. North
Hey,
Carolina has a lot of small towns.
thanks for joining us, Teresa. Hey, Jean. Jean's in Houston or suburbs of Houston. Jean is in Houston. Hey, Jean. So speaking of community, what type of impact do you think your gardening and growing your own food has had on your family and on your community?
Well, whenever I have like any excess, I give to neighbors. I give to neighbors, I give to family. So I also noticed that with me gardening, some of people around me are actually interested. So they want to learn.
Mhm.
So I've actually helped one of my best friends. I don't know if she's watching, but one of my best friends, she started her a little container garden on her balcony because she never thought she could actually garden on her balcony. She has an apartment. And she sends me updates, girl, I'm growing spinach. And so she recently sent me a message, I think it was last week. She's went to the store. She's gotten seeds. She's got more containers, so she's trying to go bigger on her garden this year. So that really brought me a lot of joy. I have friends that come to me; they want advice. I'm teaching them how to garden, so I'm starting to branch out and not just keep all the knowledge for myself. I'm starting to share it because people are coming to me and they're interested.
Yes, and I think that is important. And I think that is what we need to, God bless
Excuse
you,
me.
what we
Thank
need to go back to is, and, if we go back to seeing the importance of community,
you.
we can grow together. So if, and I say this all the time, you grow the potatoes, I grow the tomatoes, next door neighbor
Mhm.
peppers, we have a whole meal. And growing just isn't left up to one
Right.
person to grow everything. We also develop relationships. We kind of see after one another. I am my brother's keeper. So I think that gardening for me is really more than just about growing your own food, right? It's about
Right.
community and develop relationships, and
Mhm.
keeping yourself healthy and your community healthy. um,
Right.
we've learned from the virus that your health impacts my health, right? So I
It
need to be
does.
healthy, right?
Mhm.
So I think gardening really is essential to building communities. All right, y'all, let's dig in and let's see what we have, and show us around your greenhouse. This is our first
Sure.
greenhouse on the live, and we're going to talk about how we grow in seasons. In Houston, we get to grow 12 months out of the year, so we're growing all year long. And people's gardens may look nice and lush all year long, but depending on where you are at, you could not be growing 12 months out of the year. So show us what we're growing, and then you can kind of educate us on your growing season.
Sure. I don't actually, I have seedlings in the greenhouse right now, but let me show you those. Let me stop my video right quick.
All right, you all, thank you for joining us as Kiera goes and flips her camera. You are live from the garden with Let Us Live and Kiera the Curly Gardener.
All right, Karina. So in here I have seedlings that I've started, and I have to actually transport some of these to bigger pots. So we have some cucumber seeds in here. We have onion, we have pepper seeds, we have tomato seeds. I also have some loofah seeds in here.
Oh
So,
wow. We our loofahs, girl, they took over. I had so many loofahs. Matter of fact, I have to post it. But
uh-huh.
lots of loofah. I see, is there a timer or a heater on that tray?
Yes, I have because it gets so cold here at night, I have a heater in the greenhouse, but I also have these on a heating mat.
Mm.
Because like I said, the past few nights it's been in the 20s. So no heater is really gonna heat you up over freezing like you really want because it's so cold.
Mhm.
Um, Even with it being on high, it gets about 40 something in here. So this is a C mat. And over here, these are my seedlings that I have put into larger pots. So I made a humidity dome out of a storage container.
Hmm.
So I just have the towel over because the ones I have, I did the locking lids because it's easier to take the top off, but there's some air that may get inside. So I just have the towel over the locks. But
And
as you can
what are
see,
you growing in there?
and here we have some bean seeds. I don't know if you can see it. I also have corn in here too. And I have cucumber seed over there. So once they get too large for the humidity dome over here, I'm putting them over here. So I
Okay.
have two of these in here.
And that's, what'd you say you call that, you made that a humidity dome?
A humidity dome. So I just took a regular storage container that's clear so I can see through it and just turn it upside down so you can have the base and you can put your pots in there.
Great idea.
I think these are about maybe $7 or $8. You get them at the dollar store, Dollar General.
And then so will you transplant them from that container into the ground, or what?
Well, if they if it's still not as warm as I need it to be in the ground here, because sometimes we have those months where April could be hot and our April could have a cold spell in it.
Mm,
So we have to kind of be careful here. I know last year in May, believe it or not, the first week of May, we had below, we had about 32 degrees, and
wow.
I some of my plants died because I wasn't expecting it. Because it was unusual in May for us to have a freeze like that. It was like the first freeze they had in so many years, maybe 50 years or so. So 2020 was an unusual year, as we know. And here is just a raised bed I have here. So once everything starts growing, I'll have tomatoes here. I'll also put some basil in here and lettuce and some marigold seeds to help with pests.
So
And
then will you transport that box outside the greenhouse?
I'm gonna keep it in here.
So it'll stay in there the whole entire growing season.
Right.
Okay.
And in the summers in North Carolina, it could get pretty hot. I don't think it's going to get Texas hot, but some days we can have 90 plus degrees and it can feel like 100. So with this greenhouse, I already know I'm going to have to invest in some shade cloths to go on the top of it. So things in here won't actually die from the extreme heat, and put a fan in here for the summer.
And is there a particular reason you're keeping that inside when it does warm up instead of taking it outside?
No, I just wanted to actually have a bed in here as well. There was no reason behind it.
Okay.
And we have rock on the ground. And here is where I'm going to have my peppers. I'm going to keep my peppers in here too.
Uh,
And
through the whole entire growing season, you're going to keep your peppers inside?
yes,
Okay. And is there a particular reason you have the rocks and at the bottom, or is there a base, or is the frame just set on top of the grass and then you added the gravel?
right. It's set on top of the ground and I added the gravel. I just wanted the gravel just to have like the help with the water if I'm watering and stuff like that, so it won't get so soggy in here if it was just grass. I have grass coming up right now. We didn't really think it through when we put it down, but I really should have put cardboard or something underneath the gravel. But you live and you learn. I'll probably have to end up putting cardboard on top of the gravel for a while to kill some of the grass because I don't want to use chemicals.
The other thing you could do is get some clear plastic,
Mm-hmm.
and when it gets really hot, if you get some clear plastic, and you'd probably have to take about a week or so of not really
Mm-hmm.
going in there and cover it up, it'll burn the grass and suffocate it. The other
Oh, okay.
thing, because the clear plastic will suffocate the grass, but you also could use vinegar and Epsom salt with a little
Mm-hmm.
dishwater and spray it, and it'll burn the grass.
Oh, thank you for that tip.
So vinegar, Epsom salt, and dish soap. Mix that together and get a sprayer and just spray the areas. That's small enough area to do that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and spray the areas that have the grass, and it'll burn it. You just spray right at the center where the center of the plant is. You don't have to spray
Uh-huh.
the leaves. It's the roots you're trying to kill. So spray close to the roots. And if you go to one of your and I hate to mention store names, but one of your big box store, you want to get a strong a cleaning vinegar. Don't try to get the strongest vinegar you can find. So a cleaning vinegar. If you look in the store, it'll say cleaning vinegar like 30% or higher. And if
Oh,
not,
okay.
use what you have. But cleaning vinegar is really good. It'll kill your grass in that area.
Mhm.
Okay, show us what else.
Oh, thank you for that. I did not know that.
You're welcome. That's what we're here for.
Well, this is a makeshift. Oh, keep going back and forth. There you go. This right here is just something I have my herbs in, so I'm starting season here. As you can see, it's been so cold here. I have wrapped this in plastic wrap to kind of keep the humidity down. As you can see, you have to keep the humidity in here. So I have like some spinach seeds growing. I have some dill, a little rosemary and parsley in here.
Okay,
So
that's a
hopefully
great
all my
idea.
seeds germinate, and I have me a herb tower here with some spinach in it.
And is that a shoe rack or is that an actual herb
Mhm.
tower?
It's an actual little herb bag tower. You could get this off of the internet,
Okay.
and you water the top, and the water actually goes down,
Oh, okay.
and
That,
then it comes down here, and you could just pour the excess water out. And over here, we're gonna have strawberries. So I have some clippings of a strawberry plant that I had already, that I that wasn't growing as well. So I put it in here, so hopefully it does better. So this is my strawberry towers, and these are my dollar towers that I purchased. So I'm gonna have red and the white strawberry seeds, which are actually germinating right now in the humidity dome, the seed starting tray. So
nah.
this is pretty much it. We have a table here that I'll have stuff on. So if I want to repot something, I normally do it over here. And it has this little catcher here to catch your soil when you're repotting. So you can easily take the soil out and you can reuse it if you need to. So this is the greenhouse. It's not fabulous as of yet. Once everything starts to grow and it's warmer, right now it's just so cold. I really don't want to get out here like I should and decorate it the way I really want it. It's just been too cold. But I've installed some lights here. Sorry, it's a plane coming.
Oh, that's okay.
We're close to the airport too. So here we have solar lights. So all the lights in the greenhouse run off solar energy.
Wow, I'm impressed.
So these are lights here. If I wanted something brighter, these lights are kind of blue. They turn blue, red, and green. So these are solar lights, and these are solar lights. And the solar panels are here on the outside of the greenhouse.
Oh, wow. And did you have to put that together or somebody came and installed it for you?
No, I did these myself, and my husband did these. Just a bunch of zip ties. He drilled some holes in the frame and added some zip ties to keep these up here. And these are zip tied as well, and they have a clip. So if I want to be here at night and it's dark outside, these two get pretty bright. So they're almost as bright as an in-house light at night. And they're on the side of the greenhouse where the sun shines the brightest, which is over here.
Okay.
And then this light, the solar panel, is actually right in the front of the greenhouse outside of it.
So you all installed the solar panels as well?
Yep. The solar panels actually come with the lights. You could purchase them like that offline.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
then what about the greenhouse? Did someone come install it or was it easy to, did you all do it yourself?
Well, my husband actually installed the greenhouse, Karina. It took him about a week to do it. It was during the holiday. This was my Christmas present that I got. So he had to tell me a funny story before I tell you how it started. Is I received two huge boxes from UPS. So huge where the UPS driver actually had to have a helper, and I've never seen him have a helper. And I'm coming to the door like, what? what's this? I didn't know what it was. And so I get it in the house barely, and I call my husband, like, there's two huge boxes here with your name on it, and I don't know what it is. So he was like, okay, I'll be home soon. And so he says, well, this is your Christmas present. I'm going to have to tell you what it is because I know you're going to Google the name on the box.
Were you going to?
I thought about it, but it was so heavy at that point. I just left it near the door and I didn't want anything to do with it because it was too heavy. And I said, well, no, I really probably wouldn't have. I just left it over there for you. And he does ATV. He has like a side by side in ATV. So I'm thinking he orders something huge to, do that or something for ATVs for side by sides. And he says, well, I'm going to go ahead and tell you because I need to know what you want me to put in it. So he actually installed it. We were off for a week around the holiday. So he took that week off and he put it together himself.
Oh, how sweet. When your husband brings home a greenhouse for you. That's what I'm talking about.
Props to the husband.
Yeah.
Um, and he put it together himself. He said it was a little challenging because they don't give you everything you need. You still have to use your own caulking and some way to, make it more insulated yourself. They
Mhm.
only give you the basics. So you still have to go to the store and buy caulking and other things to actually make it work.
So, if someone were to, or is somebody looking to go purchase a greenhouse, what kind of tips would you tell them? And either looking, some things that you learned after you installed, some of the things you may want to pay attention to.
Well, I would say this, Karina. I'm pretty short, so it works for me. But when we installed it, I don't think you realize the height of it. But we're not tall people. I'm 5'2", and it works for me. But if someone else had this greenhouse house, they may have to have it lifted. So you would probably have to get some boards. So just make sure you look at the size of the greenhouse to see if it's going to accommodate your height.
Okay, that's a good tip.
For me it works, but for someone that's probably 5'11" or 6 feet, they would have issues with it.
Mm.
um Another thing I would probably say is to make sure you pick the perfect spot in your yard, a spot that gets sunlight but it's not too much sunlight. Where my garden is located in my yard, it has no choice but to get a lot of sunlight. So like I said, I'm going to have to install the shade cloths in the summer. So just know how your weather is in your area and just decide upon that. Don't put it in an area that's going to have direct sunlight. Um, put it in an area that gets some sun, but it's not overpowering for your plants. Um, that's pretty my only suggestions. And
The
make
installation process.
hmm the installation process, what he had to do was he went and got silicone, almost like he was using a bathroom, and
Mhm.
he had to use that to actually further seal some of the panels. And he also had to use some waterproof tape to actually help seal some of the panels. So it was a lot of sealing you still had to do. Even though you have the panels, they're still not properly sealed like you will want them to where air won't actually come in or heat won't escape. Heat will escape your greenhouse if you don't have it properly sealed.
Okay.
So, and it also helps with wind because we've been having a lot of wind. Since it's sealed the way it should be, we don't have issues with panels lifting and stuff like that.
Okay. And then what about you said he was able to do it for in a week. Did he need help? Was it something that just you two could do together?
He actually did most of it. I really didn't help much, except near the end, I helped just a little bit with helping him put some of the panels in, but he did it all himself. But he's a pretty handy guy. Um, once we go to the garden, I would show you something else he built by himself in a week.
Okay, yeah, let's go to
But
the and if we could see the out as you go ahead and say what you were going to say, but as you walk, I want to see get a big kind of a panoramic view of the greenhouse.
sure.
And then you were
Mm,
about to say, I apologize, I cut you off.
you're fine. But this is something else he built. Let me move this around. He
Oh.
built that by himself.
Mm.
Except the chairs. The chairs we had to purchase, but the actual gazebo he built that by himself. He carried the beams and everything and made that by himself. But this is greenhouse.
Okay. What size is that? That's a large greenhouse.
I think this was a 6 by 10.
Mm, nice.
And these are my garden beds. Not much going on in the garden. It's been too cold. I'm not a cold natured person, but we just have some broccoli growing. So
And are you composting? Your soil looks really good.
I am composting. I actually started last year. This is new soil. Um, I haven't added any compost to this soil.
Okay.
Now, this soil over here is probably about 2 years old. I mixed in some new soil with it, and I've also added some like worm casting and some mulch and stuff in the soil. But over here, we still have a few collards left. These were ones that I actually planted too late in the season, and they're growing. So I would normally take the big leaves from the bottom and I cut what I need from the bottom and I let more grow. So I've just been cutting and coming back. We have some onions. And right,
Are onion bulbs?
mm-hmm, yes. And here, that's white onion. I think that's white onion. And garlic. I just tested out garlic this year. I really didn't go all out. I just wanted to see what it was going to do. And
Mm-hmm.
here is my broccoli that's struggling to grow. This is more broccoli. It's getting there, but it's been extremely cold. So
Hmm.
this is some broccoli that I put up.
Yours is we're having the exact opposite. Our broccoli here,
Really?
for many people, it's been warm, and
Mm-hmm.
so we're not getting ahead on our broccoli. We've had a few cold days, cooler, not cold, excuse me. We have a few cool days. Like today, it's 70 something. I think it's
Oh
like
wow.
73. Yeah, but it's supposed to drop down to the 40s in the evenings, and it'll be 66 or something like that. And so it's just not consistently cold, and so
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the brassicas are struggling, like they're starting to flower before they even make a head. So I guess
Oh
it's one
wow.
extreme from the next. Yeah, we were in, I think yesterday was 73 or something like that, so it's been warm.
Jeez. I need to move to Texas. But
You won't be saying that this summer, my friend. You will
most of
not say that in the summer.
most of the stuff over here got a lot frost on it last night, so it's looking a little pitiful. This was kale and some chard. I'm pretty much done with it, so I may just go ahead and pull everything up. I had like some lettuce over here growing, and one lettuce that's just hanging on. It was a seed that actually sprouted late. So I didn't want to actually, you know, toss it in the compost. I want to see if it was gonna grow. But I normally cover this bed up at night. But even with me covering up last night, it got really cold.
That kale will come back if you clip those leaves.
Yeah.
It'll come if you enjoy kale and still want to harvest from it. I would
Hmm.
probably clip the leaves that are on there, leave one or two on there, and let it, like you've been doing it, cover with some cloth,
Yeah.
and it'll come back.
Yeah. If we have a warm day, normally it'll spring back up and it's like nothing ever happened. But we haven't really today. I think the high is only like 45.
Oh, okay.
So it's cold. It's really cold out here. It's in the 60s in the greenhouse, but it's like 45 out here. But
Mm.
this is just a panoramic shot for you of my little garden. So next year, I'm going to probably end up adding more stuff to the garden as far as things to beautify it. I was thinking about putting an arch over here and probably use this bed to grow my loofah.
Mm, I can tell you, uh, you'll need a couple of arches probably.
Yeah.
I let
That's
mine
what I'm
grow along
thinking.
my fence line, but your neighbors might not be as nice as mine's.
No, they're pretty nice. I normally give them vegetables, so
That's what I would do is let them grow against the fence line and then kind of flop over a little bit and tell them, you can harvest as a kind gesture, a peace offering. That's what I had to do. Um, have you eaten those? Did you know you can eat them when they were small?
I've heard that you can eat loofah when they're young, but
And you cook them just like zucchini, however you stew or saute or whatever, you cook them just like zucchini. And they honestly taste the same or don't really have much of a taste. But you're getting different
okay.
nutrients. But cook them just like zucchini, and then, like I said, just push them and see if they have some give. And if they have a little give, then oh, okay, I can still harvest that. And then, of course, the other fun part of loofahs is the
Okay.
squirrels. Okay, so when you're not growing, what are you
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for too.
um when I think there's
Well, when I'm not growing, I am, huh?
we have a
I'm sorry, I
delay.
didn't hear you.
That's okay. There's a delay in
Oh,
me talking and you talking. But when you're not growing, what are you doing? What do you spend your time doing? What do you enjoy doing?
I like to bake. I'm a baker, so I'm always in the kitchen baking something. I'm trying to relax on the baking a little because it's quarantine time to pick up a few pounds. But I like to bake, cook. I like to play games online. I actually like to look up stuff about health. I'm really thinking about possibly looking into learning more stuff about gardening, maybe taking some classes. So in my spare time, I'm always busy working. Work at a customer service call center. I'm a manager there, one of the managers. So I'm always busy with that job. And then also I have this gardening. If I'm not gardening, I'm always baking something, or I make a mean zucchini bread.
Maybe
Um,
loofah bread.
I didn't I didn't think about loofah bread. If it's similar to zucchini, I guess it's the same thing. They have the same texture, should have the same taste. So I That's really all I'm doing is just enjoying life, enjoying the garden. For the past 3 years, this is pretty much what I've been doing. So I love it. And I'm thinking about possibly in the future making this a full-time endeavor one day.
I'm here to support you, my sister, in doing that endeavor. That would be fab.
Yes, thank you.
And if you could visit any green space across the world, anywhere, where would you love to visit?
Hmm, that's a tough one. Mm.
As you think about it, I'll tell you mine, and maybe this will give you some. There are a couple places I want to visit. Oprah's farm. I say this every show. I not only do I want to visit,
Yes.
I want to be invited. I want Oprah to invite me to her farm so that I can learn from her farmer how they do grow organically and learn about how she distributes her
Mhm.
harvest. I really want to spend like a week with her head farmer, so I want to do that. And then the Queen, I want to visit her farm because they do everything organically
Oh,
from pest control. PBS had a really, really nice special about that, and what they grow, when they grow it. Everything is sustainable. They take
mhm.
great care of the nature. The environment. And so I want to visit hers, those two, and then I want to hang out with Lenny Kravitz in his farm and walk
I know he
barefoot.
had a
He does.
farm.
Yeah, he has a
I
farm.
didn't.
Yeah, he walks around barefooted, and yeah, I want to just walk around barefooted and eat from his farm. So those are my three.
I guess I never thought about it. It's places that I want to see. Like I want to go to. I think it's in Thailand.
Mm.
There's the area, but I don't know the names of these places. I know the pictures if I see them, but the names I do not know. One place that I'm trying to get to this year possibly is the Botanical Garden in Atlanta. I do want to go there, and that's on my list to go this year.
Good for you. Yeah, I heard that was beautiful. I heard the one in Chicago was just as nice too. They offer some courses if you ever think about
Hmm.
Chicago's botanical garden. I don't know about Atlanta, but Chicago does. So if you ever think about that,
Hmm.
that would be cool.
Okay.
And last question, if we when we come to Archdale, where should we eat? Or even if it's in High Point or North Carolina, where should we eat or where should we visit? Well, you're a baker. Where should we get our baked goods when we come to Archdale if we can't come to your house?
Well, there is a black-owned bakery here,
Hmm.
and the owner's name is Monica, and it's Archdale Bakery. She has I don't really eat it because I'm lactose intolerant, but it's really good. I had a little bit of it. But she makes a strawberry cheesecake cake. It's cake, cheesecake. You have strawberry layer on the top, cheesecake in the middle, and you have strawberry layer on the bottom. And everybody says really good. They wait for it. She sells out. She also makes cake pops and cupcakes and different things like that. So she has a really nice bakery. Food wise, if you want some country style cooking, there is a place here called the Pioneer, and
Okay.
it's like a buffet style. And they have country cooking, so they have your cabbage, they have your turnips, and they don't put any meat in them. They have your macaroni and cheese, your yams, your fried chicken, your fried fish. They do crab. It's a really good spot if you're looking for country cooking. Now, if you're looking for seafood, since I'm pescatarian, and High Point, there's another black-owned business, and it is called Harbor One, and they do soul food, but they do seafood.
Yum. Okay.
It's really good.
Pioneer, uh, Archdale Bakery, and
Hmm.
what was the other one?
Harbor Harbor One.
Harbor One. All right, y'all. Y'all heard it. So if we're once we are all able to start frolicking across the city like there's not a pandemic, those are the three places we need to visit. Well, Kira, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm so happy you were able to join us, and I'm happy we were able to tour your greenhouse. And I hope it gets a little bit warmer. And thank you so much. Do you have any closing remarks, or do you want to say something to someone that is thinking about growing something and they're on the fence about starting a garden? What could you say to them?
Well, first off, I want to thank you, Karina, for having me. It's been a pleasure. You're so sweet and you have great tips. So everybody hit up Karina at Let Us Live, and you're on her Facebook, but go to her Instagram as well and like her page. But what I want to say, as far as anyone wanting to start, I'll say start. If you're thinking about it, just do it. You may not do everything right. Your plants may die. You may have an unsuccessful first year, but just keep at it, learn, grow, study for yourself. People will give you tips, but what works for others may not work for you because everybody's not in the same location. Everybody does not have the same soil. Everybody does not have the same garden type. So I would say just start, learn for yourself. If you have anybody that you know that's successful at gardening, just ask them and see what works for you. You don't have to take everything that they say back and do it. But I'll just say, just start. If you think about, just start. Stop procrastinating. Just go ahead and do it. Don't be like me and have to get someone to give you that nudge and push to go ahead and start. Just do it.
I think that's a great tip. Just start where you are. And like you said, it's different for everybody. And even the best of us, I mean, farmers all the time, they lose an entire crop. They almost lose their livelihood. So you're not going to be successful. And I think you actually, I'll take that back. We are always successful as long as we learn from it. So if you have a year that didn't go as planned and
Right.
you learn from it, that success, so then the next year you've learned something and you know what to do and what not to do. So we are always all learning. And you all, thank you so much for joining us. Look forward to seeing you all next Saturday live from the garden. I think we'll be in California. Yeah, we're going to, no, we're not. No, we're not going to California. I can't remember. It's not California, but we'll be live at 2 o'clock. And I am looking forward to seeing you all. Hey, and if there's somebody that you want us to have on the show, send me a DM, tell them to tag me, tell them to email kp@letuslive.org. We are excited about learning and touring. We want to have more people on the show. If you have some questions or ideas for the show, shoot them over and let us know so that we can get out and get everybody growing something edible. So, in closing, tell us where we can find you on all of your platforms.
Hmm. I am the Curly without the E underscore gardener. I am on Instagram and I'm also on TikTok. So if you want to keep up with my TikTok shenanigans, you can. I am on TikTok and I'm also on Instagram.
All right, you all, please go and follow her page, the Curly_Gardener. Thank you so much, Kira. This was an amazing opportunity. I appreciate your time and hanging out in the cold with us in the cold North Carolina weather. Jean said, fabulous garden, Kira. Um,
Oh, thank you, Jean.
Thank you, Jean. Thank you all. And so we will see you back live from the garden at 2 o'clock next Saturday. Looking forward to hanging out with everybody. Thank you so much, Kiera. You have a beautiful day. And you all remember, let us live. Remember that.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Take care. Have a good one. Thank you for watching. If you found this episode inspiring, please tell others about the Let Us Live Edible Garden series. For more inspiring stories and garden tips, visit letuslive.org, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. I'll see you live from the garden, and remember, lettuce lets us live.